YouTube. Yeah, so today I'm going to do, I learned a bit of a lesson yesterday. Very important guitar lessons. Like, really important ones. Yeah, so... Yeah, so one of the things I was talking about, I don't know whether this video's out or not, is I was talking about this. I can't remember. I think tomorrow's video I did the other day. You'll be able to tell, but I was using the wee Bantam amp, which I don't have anymore. What I was doing there was I didn't turn the volume control down when I stopped talking, so I just let it ring. So that's, these are, I got this off Paul Gilbert. It's not necessarily, basically, if you're playing the guitar, and the bass player says, like, what's the chorus go like? Turn your volume down. Especially if you're doing a YouTube video, something like that. So I said that. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember whether it was the one for that BC Rich guitar or whether it was the video I did tomorrow. So I might be doubling up on some of this stuff. But one of the things that got me was frustration. I was trying to teach my pal, who was a wee bit of guitar, which is I will not disclose any names. Yeah, but one of the things that was happening was she was getting dead frustrated, and it came out, and it's like I was like, I'm not listening to my own advice, right? So I'll come back to it. Basically, I've staved my finger, right? It's really sore. I can actually sort of play guitar, but it hurts, right? And the reason for this is because I didn't listen to my own advice. I got frustrated. So I remember this when I was started playing. It is frustrating not being able to do it, and you get worked up. So going back again, I'll talk about I've got some other things that are a bit like this. But what actually happened yesterday was, right, so we're playing away, and my friend was getting frustrated because I kept saying, don't do that. But the problem is it was kind of unlearning stuff, which we'll talk about later, right? But I also mentioned this, and it was either yesterday's video or it might be tomorrow's video because it was pre-recorded. Talking about taking leads out and saying that one of my friends is really bad at leads, right? So I got frustrated because imagine you were going to take the lead out of this guitar, right? And you were going to try and break the lead, right? The way you take it out is you would grab it and go like that, right? That really infuriates me. It's not my guitar, nothing. It's not my lead. It doesn't matter. But that really, I've said it a few times. It's really annoying. Just like that is if you were trying to break it, that's what you would do. We'd grab hold of it and yank it out by the key. I'm not even holding on to this bit. I've staved my finger, right? So what happened was, obviously, I was fucking pretty raging at this point. And what happened was, she asked me, it's like, oh, how am I meant to do it then? I was like, well, not like that. Obviously, what I said was like, if you imagine, say you're turning on a light switch, you turn it on like this. My finger hurts, right? Like this. You don't turn it on like this, right? And I did that, and there was a patio door there, and I misjudged how far away it was, and rammed my finger into the window, and staved my finger, right? So that was my own. I got frustrated. I wasn't listening to myself. So basically, don't be frustrated. Don't try not to get frustrated. If things are getting annoying, just try and maybe walk away for 5 minutes or come back to it or try something else. You don't get anything once you start getting worked up because there's no use for that. I basically hurt my finger and it's really sore. It was really annoying last night. It's just So basically, I just slammed my finger into the wall because I was explaining my process there. But when you take a lead out of a guitar, you take it out like this. You don't grab onto the lead here somewhere and yank it out because that's going to break things. The same goes for taking it out the amp. Yep. Also, yeah. So there you go. So that was my fault. But these are. I like this. I need to work out how I'm going to word this video. It's like things that you can do that it's like, yeah, okay, or guitar lessons. Oh, you've got to, play this scale and all that. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Okay, that's kind of advanced and stuff like that. But things like turning off the volume control, especially even when you put a guitar down or you pass it to somebody, getting handed a guitar Oh, you want a shot? Here you go. You know, and you're like, okay, you know, turn the volume down. You want a shot? Just little things. That, you know, that's not an advanced technique. Just do it, right? Force yourself to do it, so that it's not sitting there. Also, you notice even if you're just sitting the guitar down, I've had it before when you're sitting there, it's like, what is that noise? And it's like, but I've just learned that it's an experience thing. I don't think anyone ever tells you to do that. And also, when you take any of these things, you know, it goes to take, you know, if you're going to, oh, I think I might hit that switch, you don't batter it like that. You know what I mean? You go up and you click the switch. It may seem very obvious. There we go. So on to the guitar-y thing, right? It's difficult. I know a lot of people in this situation. See, you've played the guitar for a few years, right? But you're kind of in and out. You maybe learned how to play one or two songs. You do quite often have to unlearn things. This is why I used to teach guitar years ago. So like kids, you know, so I don't even know how old they were, like 10, 12, something like that. Yeah, pre-drinking age. And it was great because you just tell them, play. You can play an A chord like this, and it's like yeah, that's great. Or see if you're doing a bar chord, you can do it like this. You know, it's quite easy. Just do it like that, and they would just go, all right, okay, and they would try and do it like that. Whereas when you're teaching people of a certain age, as in once they've played for a good few years, and you say, no, could you play it could you play the A chord like this? If you do it like this, it means you can do the Keith Richards thing. Sorry. Yeah, so I'm basically, no, that's not a super easy technique to be able to play an A chord with one finger, but it means that you can go, yeah, which you can't do if you're playing it like that. It's physically cannot be done, right? The problem is when you get people of a certain age, and I'm talking more about my friends, previous, this is 20 years ago I discovered this. Oh, no, I'll just play it like this instead. No, you have to do it like this. Oh no, but I'm alright, I can do it, I'll just do it my way. And you're like, no, take... It might be really annoying that you've spent ages learning that, and that's how you learnt it, but you do have to do it. There are sort of right ways to do some of these things if you want to do, you know, because I can't teach you how to do that if you will absolutely refuse to play. You have to play an A like that. Oh, but I want to do that Keith Richards thing. Well, you can't do that. So it's kind of trying to just accept that maybe even though you've got thus far and you're quite happy with the half a dozen songs you can play or whatever, there might be some things to unlearn which will be much harder than learning it the first time. The thing my pal was getting frustrated with was more the strumming thing. You know, it's like when you're learning to strum, I was trying to explain that this is a guitar lesson you never get either. Everyone always shows you how to play chords and stuff like that. They never really show you how to strum. You can see, watch someone who can play the guitar, like any of your rock gods or even me, right? See the actual strumming bit. Yep, see for a big powerful chord. Yeah, see, I'm using my whole arm. That's like the Pete Townsend way, you know. So my pick is running evenly across all the strings, whereas if you learnt to strum like this, but with your hand, just using your wrists, for example, there's only so much that gets you. I mean, I suppose that technically is a sort of technique, but you've got to try and keep it that you can do one thing. And if you've learned a particular strumming pattern, I'm going to go out and say that I think maybe Noel Gallagher suffers from this. He's got his strumming technique. You know, he goes, yeah, right. So okay, fair enough. He's made millions of pounds. Everyone, well, not everyone, but lots of people love it. Oh, baby, I'm not sure he can do anything else other than that strumming thing, because it's hardwired and that's just totally learnt. and it's like you've got to, in order to do a better strumming thing, you've got to not go. You just cannot play that going. Is not the same as. There's no way of doing that while going. You know what I mean? And it's the same kind of way when if you're doing this wrist thing. It's like, but there's just wee thing. I'm not that specific. And one of my friends used to play. He flicked the strings. He would flick the strings like this. Sorry, got a pick in there. Got a pick in that hand. Can't do it. You can't hold a pick when you're doing the flick technique. You know, it was like that. Which actually Freddie Mercury does if you watch is it Live Aid, where he's playing the Ovation acoustic like that. He's playing a crazy little thing called Love. Actually, I think Brian May's playing the guitar looks a bit like this and that. It can kind of do that, right? Like hand rooted. And yes, you can. That's kind of acceptable if you're sitting watching the telly, just working out. Do that, but there's lots of things it's just physically impossible to do. Doing that, so you've really got to learn to do it a bit more properly to get more into it. Yeah, that makes sense. It's very difficult. I mean, but I think my main point was just not getting frustrated. And that's the thing that was getting in, because I was the same. I had to unlearn a lot of stuff, and that's what a big thing about when you're starting to play the guitar. It's trying to get a result that sounds really good. And I've always said this has been, see, playing like something very simple, like A and D, very well. Like, not saying I'm the best in the world at it, but I can play A and D very well. I can get. That's kind of right. Okay, it can be done better, but that's acceptable. You've got up here, oh, that man can play the guitar. Whereas, so learn that and learn to do it really well, because it feels really good when you can actually do something that's very simple. It's just A and D, rather than learning 8 chords badly. So, you know, sounds better than which is very complicated, but badly played. I was playing wrong notes and stuff. But do you get what I'm saying there? It's like there's sometimes being able to do the very easy bits well. Look at it like, I don't know, if you're making a cake or a biscuit, a cake, right? You're making a cake, so I don't know. You flour, eggs, and sugar. That's it. I think that's a sponge cake, butter maybe, whatever it is. So 4 ingredients or something like that. If you get like a pure Michelin star chef to make, that's the only ingredients they use, the same ones, and then they'll give you a sponge cake and I bet you it's pure amazing, right? Or you could be someone like me who goes like up here, oh, I'm going to look up the best type of cake that's got 50 ingredients and then put it in and cook it for the wrong amount of time and don't stir it properly and use the wrong amount of this, and you end up with something that on paper has much more ingredients in it. It's not going to be as good as like if you got, I don't know, Gordon Ramsay or someone to make a sponge cake as if I made it, no matter how much. So you got to just try and do something simple well, rather than try to do something really overcomplicated. I actually used to know somebody. It sounds like I'm just bitching on all my pals. I'm spreading it about though. I used to work with a guy who could play the Comfortably Numb solo. He had the book for Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb, and it was literally, he would just go. And that was him. I mean, but apart from all the notes were right, as opposed to, I didn't know what the notes are, but I would at least go. You know, I mean, playing something very simple that fits in, that sounds good, rather than technically having all the right notes, but played. I'm trying to think of what solos can I actually play. I do know. Right, so the Paranoid solo, that It's not. This isn't a difficult one to play though. But that's very different from. It's not the same as. Or whatever it goes like. I'm not good at learning solos, but is this just making? Is this just sounding like I'm being a dick? But you know what I mean? It's like trying to play something and get and not until you get it right, but just try and take in small chunks and don't try and do too much as you can. And if you're struggling to play, one of my pals can't play bar chords, but the thing was he gets so good at playing the open chords, but at the start it was like you could play a B and he'd be like, oh, I can't play bar chords, and then years later he can still play amazing. He's really good at the rhythm, strumming, and playing any chords, but if it's got a bar chord in it, he just, no, I can't do that one. And it's because he's so good at going, and then suddenly you get the B, and it's like, it doesn't sound as good, but in all honesty, a bar chord never, you can't give it the pure, the same way as you can go, I don't even know what chords I was playing. But bar chords are always... So basically what you have to do when you're learning to play bar chords is see the chords that you can play really well and really loud, like your G and your A and your D. When you play the B minor, play that as well as you can. Maybe that's as good as you can get it. When you get to the A, play it at the same... comfortable numb. Whereas if you're struggling a little bit with the bar chords, it's never going to work if you're giving it the... I now remember the chords, I know. Yeah! Back to Beaver. You know, play the other ones to get them all even. It's not easy. Bar chords are difficult. Especially when you're starting. Obviously now I've been playing for 25 years or something. 20. Not 30 years yet. No, 27 years. Something like that. So these things, you don't even think about it. It's like A. And I totally get that when you're starting, A is like, oh, is that this one? And you're kind of remembering it. But there's an awful lot of... kind of try to listen to it. Try and find out what it is you're doing wrong. So if you're playing your B minor... Right, so there. It's pretty simple. But if it's not working perfectly, if there's, I don't know, it's very difficult to... Oh, why is it not working? Try picking the individual strings. Oh, I'm not doing that right. That one's not sounding right. Why are they not sounding right? And then work out so you can hear. So all the notes are there. Whereas getting some of them wrong, you can kind of wing it a little bit. I mean, I'm really disgusting for winging it when it comes to chords because I play what's called power chords. If you'll all know this, but it's just like the important ones. If you're playing an A bar chord, right? There's all so that's a full A. That's fine. But if you're struggling to play these ones, you can get away with just playing the top two notes, but it does mean that you can't hit all these other ones. But as you notice there, look. You just naturally end up muting the other strings if you accidentally hit them. So, yeah, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Right hand technique. The ability to hit that to get the power. It's not a case of absolutely whacking it. It's with control. If you just hit it hard, it doesn't work. You've got to have control in it to do the rocking bit, which is very different from So if you're a wrist flicker, even I'm struggling to do it because I'm so used to going. If I was going, and the big chords are, and it's the whole thing about having your pick evenly going across the top, so the same amount of your pick is poking out your finger to hit all the strings at the same volume. Whereas if you're wrist flicking, the pick is going in an arc like this, so you're not really hitting the outside string, you're absolutely thumping the inside strings, and you're not really hitting the outside strings. Or if you aim a bit higher, you're absolutely thumping that E, moderately thumping the A, kind of touching the D, and not really hitting the other strings. So, because you can't, if you're doing this, then this is the motion of the pick. So that motion has to come somewhere on the guitar, which means that, whereas if you're doing this, then you hit all the strings evenly. Yes. Yeah. So that's it. But basically, the main lesson there was the main 3 points. I just ended up just talking on. But I've got a sore finger because I got frustrated, and that wasn't even in actually playing the guitar. That was just in life. But it's really difficult on the guitar, and the problem is, again, try and relax to play the chords, but if you're tense and working it out, you have a tendency to clamp up and then try and hit it harder to try and make it. And it's like, no, just try and learn. Even if it's a case of playing it much slower, try and get it clean and then build up and stuff. And I totally understand why though, because all my pals started, when I was at school, all my pals started playing the guitar, and I didn't want to because they all sounded shit. And it wasn't until somebody left a Black Sabbath, left their guitar, a wee tiny amp that had distortion on it, and a Black Sabbath guitar tab book, and I looked it up, and it was like, I don't know, if someone left it at my house, and in the Sunday during the day, I'll have a go. I was looking at the Black Sabbath book, I was up here, alright, these tab, those numbers are probably where you put your fingers on the strings, eh? And I was like, oh yeah, okay, so it's 9 and 10, and it was like, alright, so you do, and it's only hitting those two, so if I just go, oh my god, that actually sounds like it. None of my pals had all been playing for a year or two up to that point could do that. It's like, but that sounds like the song. Oh. And that was me hooked on the guitar forever after that. Just because I was playing something I loved and I did it properly. I didn't have to learn 90 chords. I just set myself one wee stupid bit. I just quite fancy being able to play something on the guitar, and then suddenly it's like, after that became, hold on, but I can use that chord again. And it was like, we're there. And it was like, it was such a joy to do that. And then I ended up, then it was like, right. A couple of weeks later, I had my own guitar, and I started doing that. And then it was like, then that's how all this starts. Yeah, so there you go. Don't get frustrated, and don't have a sore finger for being a dick like I did. You don't have to explain. When you're saying take out a guitar lead, you take it out like that. You shouldn't really have to explain that you don't grab hold of it and yank it. And just try not to get really angry when somebody says, how am I meant to do it? And you go, well, you turn on a light switch like this. You don't turn it on like this. And then stick your finger into a window and then just pure... lessons to be had. We can all learn from it. And also just having the volume right as well. Try and get your volume right when you're playing. Try and make it the same volume all the way through. You know, there's not any... It doesn't sound particularly good when, you know, if some chords, the ones that you're better at, are louder. You know, it's like pure... Alright, on the A, I don't really know G. Oh, good at that one. Alright. Try and play them. It's not a very good example having the rat pedal on, because it kind of evens everything out. And just listen to what you're doing, and don't take your finger off the strings between strings either. You know, it's not the same as, well, it's going to work that way. Okay, it's not the same as. See, I'm just so used to between things. The other thing with the hand as well as the muting thing. Which you can't do with the wrist flicky technique. That one, you can't do that. if you're pinging it, you can, but you have to kind of. It's just not possible to go. Because obviously that's, I mean, you're there for so many songs are just like that anyway. It's different from which you quite often hear when you hear someone who's not nailed it. This goes back to a wee guy I showed you a bit of guitar to when I was in Pennsylvania as well, and BL guitars. The guy was playing great chords here, but he was kind of strumming it here like this. Is I don't know how you play the guitar like you do, and he's like you're playing bits, but it's, and it was like, no man, it's your right hand. But I've learnt these chords. It's like, yeah, but those chords, if you can play the first few chords, you're laughing. Really, really concentrate on making them sound good and not having extraneous noise. You know, not giving it. I can't see. The problem is I can't do it because I'm so used to just automatically muting shit. It sounds like a ridiculous technique. It's a bit muting's a bit of like you can either just batter your hand on it, or I didn't even know I was doing that. How do I play an A and then end it? It's I'm actually using these other fingers to mute it afterwards, and also the thumb over the top thing, which you're not really meant to do. Yes, you can use it for playing a chord. There's your A bar chords, but also more to the point, when I'm playing other things, my thumb's over the top, so that string doesn't ring out when I'm battering a chord. You know, if I'm battering out a D there. Try to find one that doesn't. It's got this going on through it. Whereas if I play it, I would just automatically have another finger on it. Either one of these, just, or that. You know, whatever your technique is to get that, just there's various ways around it, but just try and work out how to do these things. Yeah, so that was maybe a big bit of a crazy video, but I do have a sore finger, and it's kind of. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed at myself for doing that. I let it slip. And I totally understand, especially if you're like a musician-y type person. It is really frustrating not being able to do things. I mean, I'm tried to do some of the Paul Gilbert stuff and all that, and it's happening to me now, even though I've been aware of this problem I've got for 20 years. Even trying to do, what was it? My pals were trying to show me that and I just, after a couple of passes through, I just get frustrated at it, start missing things out. But even then, I was like told when I was doing it, I was up here, oh, but I can just play those with those two fingers. I was like, no. If you just go, there you go. So I can do the first 3 notes dead easy because I've just barred it here. But that means that I can't move. This finger's not moving. Whereas if I do it. Which is fine, but the thing is, if you were just barring it, which I could work, if I'd tried hard enough at it, I would eventually be able to do that, but that my finger's clamped here, so there's other things I can't do because I've done that, whereas if I learn it that way, properly, it means I can change to... I don't know. I'm now trying to show you things that I can't play. Anyway, that's how you go. Half a rant, and just try and be calm, and don't get annoyed. The thing is, the reason I was getting frustrated is because the person I was trying to teach was getting frustrated. I was a level of calm, like for an hour, going, it's all right, you know, it's fine. Don't get frustrated, which is obviously, it's like say try to tell someone to calm down. You can't, that never works. Calm down, that never works. But just trying to being very patient, just but just like this, and then it came to that thing when yanked the guitar lead out, and I would just fucking went ape shit. Yeah, and damaged my own finger. Rock on.